It is day 1 of week 3 of Battleathon, and I am jumping right into a brand new read. Today I'm starting The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey. This is not really a sequel, but this book takes place after the events of Fangirl Down, which I gave 5 stars a couple months ago when I read it. Absolutely loved that one. And this book is going to pick up with 2 friends of the main characters of Fangirl Down who end up meeting, and she is going to sign on to be the au pair for this aggressive hockey player's teenage daughter. I think she's 12, so preteen. And things are gonna get really complicated from there, which makes total sense. So I am excited to be jumping into this one. I have not read a ton of Tessa Bailey, but the ones I've read so far, I have pretty well enjoyed. And obviously I loved Fangirl Down, giving it 5 stars. So I'm excited to jump into this one. I feel like I've heard mixed reviews on it, but I'm gonna find out for myself. So I am buddy reading this one with Michelle. So we're gonna read this over the course of a couple of days, and I'm excited to get started, so I'll keep you updated as I make some progress through it. I am 40% into, what is this book? The Night Ends with Fire, and I am loving this. I feel like this book is giving me all of the fantasy vibes that I have been looking for, and I am just having such a good time. This story is following a similar style to The Legend of Mulan, which I love. So I really love where the story is going. Our main character, Maylin, is going to impersonate a man so that she can join the army, and is going to discover that she's got some abilities that she didn't know she had. And it's honestly just so much fun to get to follow this, but also to see the camaraderie between her and the other soldiers. And while she's trying to maintain her secret, also trying to figure out what the heck she's doing and what is in her brain, because there is a dragon talking to her in her mind. And I just think this is so fun. And the story is just, it's so interesting, and I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. Plus there is a little bit of a romance brewing, so I want to say this is probably romantasy, but so far it's been very slow building up until this point. But I'm loving this so far, and I can't wait to finish it. And I have to finish it in the next 24 hours because my Libby hold is due for the audiobook, so I definitely need to get a move on. But so far so good. I will check in a little bit later. Okay, so it's Tuesday morning, so I just want to run through a couple of updates on the books that I'm reading. First of all, I am probably 70% through The Night Ends with Fire. I forgot to check the exact percentage, but I am nearing the end at this point. I have about 100 pages left, and I am having so much fun reading this. I know I gave my update at 40-ish%. I wasn't sure if I was going to do another check-in before the end, but everything that's happening, I feel like this book just keeps picking up momentum, and I think it's just so much fun. One, getting to explore the magic that's happening, the power with the Lichia and the Chi, and just Maylin's kind of journey through all of this has been so fun to follow. But also the drama that is her trying to figure out who she can trust in a world where she really doesn't feel like she can trust anyone. I think it is so much fun, and this book is just giving me so much joy. I just really like reading it. Plus it is moving very quickly. I feel like things are constantly happening. There's been no point in this book where I have felt okay, let's keep moving. It is moving itself, and that makes me so happy. So I will be finishing this book today, but I am also reading The Au Pair Affair still, and today is day 3 out of 4. I have not read my buddy read portion for today yet, so I am sitting at about I think it's 55% or something like that into this book, and I am enjoying this. But I will be honest, there is something about it. Very early on in the book, I had this idea of something feels off, but I can't really put my finger on it, and it's weird. I think it might just be kind of the personalities of these characters are ones that I don't typically end up finding in my books, but especially for Burgess, our main guy, he is this really big, gruff, kind of aggressive hockey player. He's known to be a very aggressive player, but off the rink, he is definitely more delicate. He definitely cares about the people in his life, and he definitely shows that with the au pair that he hired, Tallulah, who is helping to look after his 12-year-old daughter, Lissa. And I like their relationship. It's very like insta-lovey because they were attracted to each other like a lot the first time they met, and he is so gone for her. Like, he is obsessed with her, and in some ways I like it, in some ways I'm a little bit put off by it, and I can't quite figure out why, but like something about him feels a little bit off. However, their like banter and the way that they are very obviously taking care of each other, I really do appreciate that. Plus, the funniest thing happened in the audiobook. I do want to start by saying I don't think the narration is like great. It's very kind of choppy. The narrator definitely pauses a lot and it just feels very disconnected for a lot of the audiobook. However, there was one part of the book, and every time I think about it, I cannot stop laughing. I'm not kidding you. In Libby, I bookmarked exactly where this line is because I have gone back and re-listened to it multiple times. It makes me laugh so hard. If you have the book, I'm talking about page 117, and she's talking about the way that like she feels about Burgess and how Tallulah has a lot of reservations when it comes to men and her comfort with men. And so she starts to feel very comfortable with Burgess, and it surprises her. But she also has a little bit of an obsession with him and just like looking at him or like his muscles and things like that. And she finds herself like touching his muscles. She's like asking herself, why am I still doing this? Why am I still touching his muscles? Like, what's wrong with me? And she compares herself to a kid riding a slide at the park. But the funny part is the line says, like a kid riding a slide at the park. Whee! And I'm listening to this audiobook at 3 times speed, so it just came out of absolutely nowhere. I had no warning, and all of a sudden the narrator's going, whee! And when I tell you, I stopped the audio and I immediately went back and replayed it like 3 times straight, and I kid you not, I was laughing for like an hour straight. Every time I thought about it, I was like, this is so funny. Like the choice of like tone for that word, literally one word, but the usage of that word was just so freaking funny to me. And like, does it redeem the rest of the audiobook not being that great? No, but I'm gonna remember that page and I'm going to remember that line because it was so funny. It just came out of nowhere. The rest of the book, I don't know. Like, this is definitely not going to be a favorite of mine. I don't have any like major issues with it yet, but something about it is just not my cup of tea. I don't know. It's weird. It feels very weird. I'm liking the story and kind of the challenges that they're facing. I don't know. We're gonna see where the rest of this book goes, and I will keep you updated when I've finished it. I will be finishing this book tomorrow, so I have the like 3rd section of it to read today, and then I will finish the book tomorrow, and I will let you know my final thoughts at that point, unless something else comes up that I really need to talk about in the meantime, in which case I will. But for now, that's my update. I have those 2 books going. I'm also actively reading The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which I am talking about in another vlog where I was reading a couple of sequels, and so I have that one going, and I had to put it on pause while I read The Night Ends with Fire just because that one had more of an immediate due date for Libby, and Ashes I have on Audible, so I don't have to worry about that being returned at any point. So I'm reading that one but have not finished it yet. I'm over halfway and like really loving it, but I will give more details in another vlog for that one. So that's where I'm at right now. I will keep you updated as I keep going through these books, and I have to figure out what I'm reading after some of these because I truly don't know what's next other than finishing Ashes. So stay tuned for updates there too, but that's all. I will update you in a bit. I did it! I finished the book, and honestly, I loved this. I think it was so much fun, and the fact that I had to speed read through it because of my timeline of when the audiobook was going to go back to Libby, I was afraid that was going to impact my enjoyment of the book just because like being forced to read faster. But I think this is perfectly deserving of the 5 stars that I'm giving it. I think more specifically it's probably 4.5, but this book was giving so much to me. First of all, it was constantly moving. Things were constantly happening. I never felt bored. And part of that is because the world building, there was a lot that I had to like focus on in order to really understand what was going on. Because Malin is a woman who impersonates a man in the army, which is, you know, a problem all its own. But she also has this Lichia, which is kind of like a magic that is connected to a lot of different things that she doesn't understand. And that's part of her like journey journey of, you know, the whole story of understanding what this is for her. And because of that, there was a lot that visually, I'm a visual reader, I picture things when I'm reading, and I had a lot of trouble picturing a couple of the things that happened in here, but it was written so well and so clearly that even if I couldn't picture it, I still understood exactly what was happening. And I think that's so important to recognize about this book, because the writing was done so well. It was beautifully written, honestly. And I think that there is something so special about the way that certain very important lines were repeated throughout the book. If I had to describe this book in one sentence using one book quote, it would be the line, "They would never let a woman hold on to power." This line is repeated throughout the book, among a couple of other ones that are brought up repeatedly. And that is just such a major theme for the main character, Malin, and the way that she is faced with a lot of different things, but as a woman, it makes things so much more complicated for her. Also because she is impersonating a man and has to keep her identity a secret for her own safety. But so much of this book is just about her journey to freedom, and I just really, really, really love it. And I don't know, just something about this book, it just like worked so freaking well, and things were gearing up so much to the end that I am so excited for what's to come in the next book. The last page says "to be continued," so you know it's gonna be, you know, having another book coming, and I really can't wait to find out what's gonna happen, because she's left in quite a predicament at the end, and I just really need to know what's gonna happen. But ultimately, like, this book was just so good. It exceeded my expectations because the book itself is absolutely stunning. Like, I was obsessed with the cover and the synopsis when I first found out about this book. I requested it on NetGalley and they turned me down, but I bought the book anyway, and I'm obsessed with this first print run that has like sprayed edges and everything. But I'm also really glad I liked this book because I also got the Fairy Loot edition, and it's even more stunning. Is that possible? But like, seriously, I'm obsessed with how this book looks. Plus, it has some absolutely stunning art on the inside. I mean, hello. And it means so much more now that I've actually like read the book, but the naked hardcover brings me so much joy. It is so reflective, it's so pretty, and it reflects the idea of the phoenix. The phoenix plays a pretty important role within the book, as well as dragons. And so like having this just like it's just so pretty, and it just makes me really happy. So I love having pretty books, and enjoying the book just feels so good knowing that I don't have to get rid of it. So that's kind of my update for The Night Ends with Fire. I loved it so much. I can't wait to submit this for 5 stars for my House of Stars, for Battleathon. The war in The Night Ends with Fire may be over, but the war for Battleathon is not over yet. The house trials are still going. So after I submit this book, I am going to jump back into The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, because I am past the 50% mark. I think I'm probably around like 60% or so. And so I'm going to power through that because I want to get this book done. I also have a couple other books that are on deck that I have, you know, some Libby timelines that I kind of need to be fitting in here. So that is my plan, but I just like could not wait to give this update because this book was so good. It was so good. The writing, the story, the characters. There was a bit of a like love triangle kind of situation going on, and I was enjoying it the whole time because I either love to love the characters or I love to hate them, or I was so confused with how I was supposed to feel because of all the emotions that I had going on. It was just so good. Everything about it was so good. I hope that you decide to give this book a try if it's been on your list, because it is so good and it's so well done. So with all that said, I am gonna be jumping back into my Ashes and the Star-Cursed King now, and I will keep you updated once I have made some more progress. I finished The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey, and I don't know what to do, how to rate this, because in some ways I liked the story, but also I feel like there was no story because there was so much smut. It was just, that was it. That was the whole story. The second half of this book really went downhill for me. I started losing all hope in this relationship, and I just don't know what to do with that. So first of all, Burgess is a really gruff, grumpy, kind of like aggressive, but like not in like practice, but like he comes off as an aggressive person. That is just who he is. And throughout the first half of the book, some of it was like a little off-putting to me, but I grew to like him quite a bit. I feel like it was kind of endearing the way he was acting sometimes. And then Tallulah is definitely dealing with a lot of trauma and a lot of fears for a lot of reasons. And she does go into some detail on what that stems from, which is totally understandable. And she has to battle with her fears by also like putting it into context of how she's feeling about Burgess. And they end up obviously getting together after she starts nannying for his daughter. But here's the thing, I really don't know that I ever was like really rooting for them. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that this book is just two people who are horny for 100% of the time. And I am fully convinced that if they never actually hooked up, I don't think that they would ever get together. I don't think that they would have anything to share because their chemistry is physical. That's it. And one of the things that bothered me the most about this book, first of all, so I read this in 4 chunks, 4 like split it into quarters. The third section was literally almost like 70 pages of straight smut. Like it was just them hooking up constantly, consistently for like 60 pages and like different events, like different places, scenarios, whatever, but like that's all it was. There was no plot. It was just them hooking up for like 60 pages, 70 pages. But then the last half of the book is the like third act breakup, and honestly, Burgess made me so angry. The things that he said to her during their breakup was like atrocious. I hated what he said to her, and I would also be super upset and hurt by what he said to her as she was. But the problem that I had after that, like, okay, her choice to like give him another chance, maybe, whatever, but the way he treated her after she said, I want space, I don't want to get back together with you, I don't see this working. I don't either. But when she said that to him, his response was, I'm gonna make you change your mind. I'm not gonna leave you alone. I'm going to put myself into your world. I'm gonna invade your personal space. I am not gonna let you alone. And I'm gonna make you change your mind and take me back. And I'm like, first of all, my dude, this is not like the romantic gesture you think it is. It doesn't sound cute. It's not hot. You forcing yourself into her life after she has said, you hurt me so deeply that I cannot forgive you. I cannot get over this. I need to be by myself. And then forcing yourself into, no, immediate red flag. And it made me not like him, like at all. The whole last section of the book was just me being angry that I knew she was going to give in and I knew that she was going to take him back because that's how these books always turn out. But like, I didn't want that because I don't think that they should be together. I don't. And the more I'm talking about it and the more fired up I'm getting, the more I'm realizing I was thinking about giving this 3 stars, but I think I'm going to give it 2.5 probably, but I think I'm going to land on like a general 2 stars. This just was so disappointing. The best parts of this book were the ones where Wells and Josephine were in it because of Fangirl Down. I loved Fangirl Down, and the fact that those characters showed up in here was the saving grace because I love those characters. But like, Burgess ruined all of this. Tallulah didn't really have issues with her other than her decision making towards the end of taking him back. Burgess, yeah, no, I have issues. The one other saving grace, and obviously this is still because it's about Wells, but I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive copy, and so there's a Barnes & Noble exclusive chapter at the end, and I read that chapter and it made me laugh so freaking hard. It's so unserious. Tessa Bailey, I want to know what she was on when she wrote this book and when she wrote that chapter, because it's literally about a monkey. Like, it's about a freaking monkey. Okay, I can't make these things up. The like last half of the book is gearing up for Wells and Josephine's wedding, which Burgess and Tallulah are in. And so they go to Costa Rica for this destination wedding and some chaos ensues. But yeah, the exclusive chapter at the end is about a Costa Rican monkey. Literally what? But at the same time, it was kind of a comedic relief after me hating that they got together at the end. So yeah, I don't know. I'm so angry that this book turned out this way because of how much I loved the book that came before it. And it makes me really nervous for what I fear there is going to be a third book of, because there's another character in here with another relationship that was like vague enough that I'm pretty sure it's gearing up that there's gonna be a book about it. And I don't really want to read that one either, but it's fine. I am done. I can put the book down because I finished it. I don't have to think about it anymore, but I think I am giving it 2 stars, and I kind of want to get rid of it because I don't like keeping books that I rate less than 3 stars, but I'm also afraid of getting rid of it if there is going to be a book 3 that I want to invest in. But I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. I think I'm gonna get rid of it. 2 stars. It was not good. Sorry, it was not. Anyway, that's all. I don't know what I'm doing with my life now. I guess I need to finish The Ashes and the Starker's King because I'm still working through that. So that's gonna be my next goal, and I will check in later about that one, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
the other night, as soon as I closed my eyes, I fell off a cloud. But instead of falling down, I flew straight up towards the sun. It was the most scared I've ever been in my whole life because everything got so bright. I couldn't see anything at all.
We have come to the end of week 3 of Battleathon, and I have a little bit of summing up to do over the last like 48 hours because I realized I haven't really given many updates, but on Friday I managed to finish reading The Ashes and the Starcursed King, and I really had a good time with this. I'm gonna give a lot more details in a separate vlog that I was reading this for because I've been reading some sequels, and so this one I'm gonna talk about a lot more there, but I will tell you that I gave this book 4 stars. I gave Serpent 5 stars, and this one I would say is like 4 to 4.5. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a really good time, but it did take me a while to get through. I feel like there were certain elements that just didn't hit for me as well as I thought they would, but overall I still really liked this, and I cannot wait for book 3 that comes out in just a couple of months. So that means that for week 3 I managed to get through 3 books, but I'm excited to now move into week 4 because it is down to the wire and there is just so much riding on this last week, so hopefully we're gonna go strong. But before I finish out, I did want to share some of the things that I did on Saturday. So Friday night I ended up driving down to Lexi's house, and Katrina Brown joined Lexi and I for an adventure in DC on Saturday. We went to the National Book Festival, which is this free event for people who just love books. It's hosted by the Library of Congress, and they always invite a ton of authors, and this year there were a couple of authors I was very excited to meet and get some books signed. So here's the stack of books that I ended up taking with me to get signed, and here is the stack of books that I actually got signed. So the 3 authors that I was most excited for was Abby Jimenez, Casey McQuiston, and Rebecca Yarros. Yes, Rebecca Yarros was there. However, her line was so long. It started forming almost 3 hours before the actual signing time, and while we joined the line about 2 hours early, we were already so far back in the line that they capped it and we got cut off before we were even allowed to like stay in the line. So unfortunately, even though I took 3 books to get signed, I took my first edition of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and I took the Romance, The Things We Leave Unfinished, which I gave all 3 of those books 5 stars, and I didn't get any of them signed, which is okay. It was a little disappointing having like carted these books around with me all day, but there were so many people there. It was not surprising at all that they had to cut people out. Plus, we did get a chance to go to her panel discussion, which was just a conversation between Rebecca Yarros and an NPR podcaster, Emily Kwong, and honestly, the conversation was so good. I loved the questions that Emily was asking. I love Rebecca's answers. It was just such a really like eye-opening time. She shared a lot of personal stories and things that impacted her writing, and it was a really fun event to go to. So I'm glad that we got to go to that panel even though we couldn't get through the signing line with her. However, because the signing line was cut short and we weren't able to stay in that line, it means that I was able to prioritize the other 2 authors that I was especially excited to see yesterday because I had 3 books for each author that I wanted to get signed. So first of all, I ended up meeting Abby Jimenez, and I got Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer all signed and personalized, and I have read 2 of the 3. I have yet to read Yours Truly yet. I actually skipped it before I went to Just for the Summer, but eventually I'll go back and read the second one. But of the 2 that I've read so far, I gave them both 5 stars, which is a great sign that I'm going to love the second one as well. And so I got these personalized because I don't plan on getting rid of those anytime soon. I really love them, and it was really fun to get to, you know, meet these authors. And honestly, part of the best part for me was, you know, we had a very significant wait time. I think we waited in line for like 2 hours before the signing actually started for these two because their line was combined. And so like part of the fun, I guess, was one, hanging out with Lexi and Katrina. We were hanging out all day and getting to talk, and it was just so much fun that we got to spend that time together. So like even though we were sitting around waiting for things, you know, we were still talking and hanging out, but we were also bonding with some of the other people in line with us because it was a really hectic day, and I think that a lot of people were disorganized and things were kind of chaotic. We were all bonding together over our shared confusion and sometimes frustration over what was happening, but we were trying to like stay as positive as possible, knowing that there were thousands and thousands of people there for this event. I think they estimated like 1,500 people in line just for Abby Jimenez and Casey McQuiston alone, and like that's just incredible to me. And so like there were so many people there. Obviously there were going to be issues, and you know, kind of dealing with those issues really brought people together in a way, and so that was kind of fun, even though some of it was a little bit more frustrating. But I did mention that I ended up getting to meet Casey McQuiston, so I had Red, White, and Royal Blue one last stop, and the brand new The Pairing. I actually ended up purchasing this copy from the event because I didn't have it before. I have a copy from Afterlight that's coming, and it didn't arrive in time to take with me, so I ended up getting this copy so I could get it signed. Casey was not personalizing any of them, so it's just a signature. So it was just really fun to get to have these books signed, and a huge thank you to Lexi and Katrina for helping me get my book signed because of some of the book limits that they were putting to help get the lines through a little bit faster. So it was a really wild day, and it was a very late night. We got home late, we were exhausted, and my feet hurt so bad from walking around so much, but it was a blast overall, and I'm so glad that I went, and I can't wait for next year because they already announced the date for next year, and it sounds like Rebecca Yarros might be coming back again, which is very exciting. Hopefully things can be a little bit more organized and I can actually get a chance to meet her next year, but we shall see. But that brings me to now. It is Sunday, so technically this is the first day of week 4, but I had no energy yesterday to do an update, so I figured I'd do my quick weekly wrap up here, and as soon as this is over, I'm going to be jumping into reading for week 4 because the House of Stars has to keep up the good work, and we've got to come through this final week very strong. But that is everything I've got for now, so let me know if you've got opinions on any of these books that I've read or purchased and haven't read yet. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I want to remind you that Battleathon is still going on for one more week. I hope that you're tuned in. If you like this video and you want to see more from me and some more vlogs coming up, make sure to hit subscribe so that you can follow along with everything I've got. But I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye!